Hi, this is Alex from devstories.eu. OpenAI and Swagger Ecosystem, Episode 19 of 19. REST APIs are no longer the only way systems communicate. It is time for a tool that understands Kafka and event-driven architectures just as well as HTTP. That tool is Swagger Editor Next. Also known as version 5, this is a complete rebuild of the standard interface you might already be familiar with. The classic Swagger editor is deeply tied to synchronous HTTP APIs and older rendering techniques. It works fine for OpenAI 3.0.0, but it can freeze or lock when validating exceptionally large files. Swagger Editor Next replaces that aging infrastructure. It is built entirely on a modern React and Webpack stack. This is the part that matters. The underlying text input is now powered by the Monaco editor. This is the exact same technology that drives Visual Studio Code. Because it relies on Monaco, Swagger Editor Next handles massive specification files without stuttering. It provides robust syntax highlighting, immediate error detection, and precise line-level validation that simply outpaces the classic version. You are effectively typing into a lightweight IDE rather than a web form. That covers the engine. What about the actual specifications? Swagger Editor Next brings two major native capabilities. First, it supports OpenAI 3.1.0 out of the box. This specific OpenAI version fully aligns with JSON schema, meaning you can construct far more complex data models and reusable components than you could in version 3.0. Second, Swagger Editor Next natively renders AsyncAPI specifications. This is the definitive path forward for developers handling asynchronous microservices alongside traditional APIs. AsyncAPI uses a structure very similar to OpenAI, but instead of defining HTTP paths and GET requests, it documents message brokers, topics, and asynchronous events. To see how this works in practice, look at a smart city network managing streetlights. If you only had tools for REST, you might try to force an HTTP post endpoint to represent a constant stream of sensor data. With Swagger Editor Next, you just write an AsyncAPI document. You define a channel called Smart City Streetlights. You assign Kafka as the protocol. Then you specify a publish operation detailing the exact JSON structure the sensor emits when a light turns on. As you type your specification on the left side of the screen, the Monaco editor validates the AsyncAPI syntax. On the right side, the interface renders a structured, interactive visual document. It clearly displays the Kafka topics, the expected message payloads, and the protocol headers. You no longer need separate toolchains for your synchronous APIs and your event-driven microservices. The ecosystem has evolved to handle both simultaneously. The shift toward asynchronous events does not mean starting from scratch with your documentation. It just requires a modern editor capable of reading those new standards. Since this wraps up our series, take a moment to read the official documentation, load up Swagger Editor Next, and try modeling a Kafka topic yourself. If you have an idea for a completely new series, visit devstories.eu and let us know. That is your lot for this one. Catch you next time.